Hi everyone. So after reading Dr. Deaton's How to Study Philosophy and Camus's The Myth of Sisyphus, I feel like the two complemented each other very well. Dr. Deaton explained how to approach philosophy, and Camus gave us the opportunity to put those ideas into practice. So the biggest takeaway that I had of Dr. Deaton was his practical study tips. Dr. Deaton also compared philosophers and scientists. He said that they're both answering questions, different questions, but they're both using logic. They're both looking for truth using logic and reason. So one of the biggest tips that I took away from Dr. Deaton was read the material. Even when it's hard, read the material. And I loved when he compared using lifting weights to reading philosophy. Like, even when it's difficult, push through. Keep working on it. The more you practice, the better your brain gets, the stronger your brain becomes. So I think that's true in a lot of aspects of life. Like, I coach middle school athletics, and I tell my kids all the time, you don't get better by avoiding hard things. You get better by working through them. So I think that's honestly how philosophy works as well. So the tip that stood out to me the most was number 3, underline sparingly, because honestly, this is where I struggle. So even during Bible study, I will highlight and underline all the things because I think it's all important, when really I should be focusing on the most important things. And if I'm highlighting everything, then nothing is standing out. So I like that tip. So Camus also talked about something called the absurd. And from what I understood, the absurd is like the conflict between our desire to understand life and find meaning and the reality that life doesn't always give us clear answers. So we naturally want to know, like, why are these things happening? What's our purpose? And sometimes the answers just aren't there. And the story of Sisyphus really helped explain that idea to me, because every day he pushes this rock up a mountain just for it to roll back down. And at first it sounds completely pointless, but Camus says what matters most is that Sisyphus keeps pushing anyway. So I also want to mention the 3 responses to absurd: revolt, rejecting hope, and living with passion. And so the first one, revolt, that made the most sense to me, because I took that to mean that even when life is difficult or doesn't make sense, we don't quit. We just keep moving forward. And as a wife, a mom of 4 girls, a coach, a full-time employee, and a full-time student, there are definitely days that feel just repetitive. Between the practices, the laundry, the homework, my schoolwork, the girls' sports, like, it feels like I am pushing this rock up a mountain just for it to fall back down. But I keep going because those responsibilities have meaning to me. And I think that is the same for Camus and Sisyphus. So the idea of rejecting hope was probably the hardest for me, because from what I understand is that Camus wasn't saying to give up. He was saying not to depend on hope that life will suddenly become easy, or that all of our questions will be answered. So this is where my perspective is a little different, because faith is a huge part of my life, and I believe my hope comes from God. So I don't completely agree with Camus on this, but even so, I appreciated that he challenged me to think about why I believe what I believe, without just accepting it without thinking about it. So the last idea, living with passion, was probably my favorite, because I think it's a great reminder to be fully present in the moment that you're in right now in life. Even though life can be busy, it can be repetitive, I find joy in being a wife, being a mom, being a student, finishing my degree, being a coach. I love all of these things, and these are the things that give my life purpose.